Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So today we are here with the 4x4 Lowrider build, and right now we are swapping my 4x4 97 cab onto a 91 two-wheel drive frame. Now with that comes a couple hiccups, couple issues. One thing I did off camera in between last video and now is I just pulled both steering wheels and the shafts out of the trucks because I need to swap them. This one was a power steering box, and the other one is a manual box, and I'd rather have the manual anyway. There's no going back. I'm not getting power steering back. I cut all that up, and I don't really want it. But if these are looking like about the same length, look like they're going to bolt up in the same spots. One issue I'm just kind of coming across is that these up here are way different, where all of the stuff mounts to have my blinkers and my my headlights and wipers, and the ignition sits in an entirely different spot as well. So I'm just really hoping I can make all of this stuff on this fit on here. It's actually looking like Nissan might have made this little plastic piece pretty universal. So I'm hoping there's a slight chance that actually I may possibly be able to bolt up that switch onto this panel. I think we might get lucky. I don't know. It's not looking promising, but worth a try. So I think what I'll do first is get this wheel bolted back up in here. It was just 2 bolts that go up and 4 nuts on the back of there. And just get that wheel in here, see if the clamshell fits around it, see if I can swap out all the electronics, and that's probably the only hiccup right now. If that works, we'll be in business, because the shafts are also way different. This has like U-joints, and this one is just a flat plate. Like where this is where it starts on this shaft. So it's pretty interesting how they set it all up. A lot of differences and a lot of similarities at the same time. The wheel is now in. I actually have one more bolt to put up right here, but there's one on that side, the 4 nuts down there. And I'm just going to test the clamshell, see if it even matches up to the same length. And if so, I'm going to try to disassemble all the surrounding stuff and see if I can swap it out with that. And if so, we are going to be like in perfect shape here. Okay, steering wheel update. It is not going amazing. I mean, I have the wheel in there, so I mean, we'll be able to steer and everything. So I mean, that is a plus. It's not all bad, but gotta get that ignition in there somehow. I was gonna use my other one. I put the wheel in the truck, and it's just not gonna happen like that. They don't make it so you can take off the factory ignition for whatever reason. They don't make it easy anyway. So guess I got a little bit of work ahead of me, but soon I will have the clutch throwout bearing, the clutch release bearing, whatever you want to call it. Then I will be able to mount my transmission to the engine, and then roll the chassis over and put this cab on that frame and start assembling the truck a little bit more. And I'm going to come back to this. I'm actually going to custom make this trim fit this style. And I'm just not even sure if I'll be able to use the plastic from this wheel on there yet. So that's kind of what's holding me up the most. But honestly, if I were to cut this and weld it to my other frame, then I should be able to use this and cut it down to where I need it and have all my electrical connections and make everything work. So it's all possible. It's just we're going to need to come back to that. But it's bolted in. I'll be able to turn the wheel, and I think that's a plus. The only other thing I can think of that's kind of important to swap in right now is the e-brake. So this one, it came out of the firewall, and this one has a delete plate kind of thing sitting here. So I'm not too sure where it runs, but I'm going to get this disconnected now and find out. Well, isn't that interesting? It runs off of a pulley and all the way down into there. So I actually have to change the whole e-brake, which I don't think will be too much of a problem, but very interesting to see nonetheless. And then once that runs under there, I don't know if there's a delete plate in this one for the 2-wheel drives because it's the same cab. Let's see if we get lucky. Yep. Okay, there's just a really rusty spot where the e-brake will go. So we'll run our new e-brake. I hope from here to here is the same distance, and if so, we'll be all set. Well, even that was quite tricky. I had to feed some extensions to get to some bolts up behind this box. 2 bolts down there, and unbolted it here. It actually unbolted in this truck. The black truck, I will not get so lucky. But this is the whole assembly, and once I run this through the floor, it literally reconnects in one place, and we are good to go. So bolting this all up is going to be a little tricky, but once this is in there, we'll have an e-brake in the black truck again, which is kind of exciting. You don't realize how nice it is to have an e-brake until you don't have one. My girlfriend's off to get the throwout bearing for me. While she's gone doing that, I'm going to start cleaning up this transmission. Just gonna hope this thing works, and yeah, that's about all. I mean, that's all I can do, is just hope it works. And we're going to get that clutch in place before she gets back. Basically, all I gotta do is take this little pin, line it up, and just send it. It should be pretty easy. One thing to make sure too is that you take this piece and you feed the clutch on the right way, and it's gonna go in this little pilot bushing. You're gonna put the clutch on it and then feed it in here, and it's gonna hold it in place, so then you can bolt on your flywheel. Honestly, to save time, I think I'm just gonna send the center bearing that's on there. It actually doesn't look bad. I think it was taped to keep the metal together to put it back in place. Probably would make sense to change, but I don't want to go through the trouble of messing with the U-joints right now. And gotta see if this thing can drive, so we'll come back to that later on. Maybe not. I had also cleaned out this transmission a bit, and it looks pretty clean, looks pretty good. A little bit of metal shavings, but I mean, for a 30-year-old transmission, I wouldn't have expected any less. But I do have a broken engine mount. I did order a new one, so it is coming in. But basically, I just need to get the transmission mounted to this to help hold it up. So once all that happens, I will be able to roll the truck out without worrying about the engine flopping off, and get that cab on here, which is very important. Once that happens, I mean, things are really going to come together, but I've been very held up by the whole waiting for parts from the parts store. I have all the bolts in. What I'm going to do now, though, is I actually wanted to add thread locker, so I'm just going to take one out at a time, put some thread locker, and tighten them all up, and then torque them all to 33 foot-pounds. And then should be good to put the transmission on. Okay, everything is all torqued down. Now we can pull this pin, and that keeps everything aligned with the pilot bushing hole. And essentially, I am going to move over to the transmission. I just need to assemble the new clutch release bearing. If you have the option to get it as an assembly, do that. I promise to make your life way easier. I broke the clip for that one earlier. So now we have the right one. Let's get this out of here. Bam. And now I have to figure out how all the clips go on and assemble that. But I know this clip goes on here, so that's a good start. So unfortunately for me, it looks like this piece of the transmission, whatever this front housing piece is broken. But I might be able to get super lucky. I have a spare transmission, and maybe I can just take this plate off and pull it off. I'm not sure. I've never done it before. But this would sit up here. I mean, maybe I could have it welded there, but it's basically what holds the bearing away from the shaft. Very important. So I'll let you guys know what luck I have getting that one off. Biggest W of the day, boys. The cover worked. This shaft, no one needs it. I gotta pull this off, put a screwdriver in there, pop that off, put this on. We'll be in business. I cannot wait. Back in there, we're just gonna hope this all works out. It's all we can do. And now we're going to take our fork. I gotta run this pin backwards, so this little pin feeds through the fork, just like that. And now it's going to sit, that ball is going to sit in here. So these both go in these little outlets on each side, and that ball in the transmission housing right there is going to ride in between it. So this fork's gonna feed in here. It's gonna push on that, but I gotta get the bearing on and fit it all at once. And the forks of the bearing will side in between this little spring, but on the actual bearing. I don't know. Guys, I've gotten it all figured out. So as you'll see in there, the spring is set with the forks. The bearing is in place. Now when the slave cylinder pushes down on this, it throws the bearing up into the pressure plate, which will disengage the clutch. So we're looking pretty good. The only other thing I'm going to add right now is the transmission mount down here. I got these little square bolts or rectangular heads. That's going to hold itself in while I tighten the nut. And then that'll tell me where this bolts in on the cross member, and it'll give me a perfect measurement to tighten that down, set it down, bolt it in. Next is drive shaft. Check this out. We did it. Just have 2 bell housing bolts loosely tightened right now. But what happens is when you get the transmission up there, you're gonna have like an extra like inch or so of space. Make sure your pins line up, and you just gotta push it in right. Yeah, you gotta get it just right. Get it in that pilot bushing. That was hard to do from the top. I don't know how we do that from the bottom every time. But I'm gonna get all my bell housing bolts tightened in, and oh, it's so sick. I'll also install the starter on the other side. Or maybe I'll wait till the harness is in. I'm not too sure. Very exciting news. I'm going to plug the drive shaft into the transmission, bolt it up to the differential. Once that is done, I'm going to roll the cab on here. I mean, I don't know what else is stopping me after that. So I put a little towel in the transmission just to keep fluid from getting in there. It was super exciting. Okay, so drive shaft is almost in. Little tip is put a little grease on that shaft, especially if it's been sitting a while like mine. Want to make sure this is all clamped in place nice and tight and send down our bolts. Seems like it shifts okay. It's a little sloppy. I don't know. It feels tight, but there's no fluid in it. It's not running. It's kind of odd to just shift from outside. So still not sure about the transmission. Drive shaft bolts are in though. Oh, and that's why it's been hard to move. See, look at that. You try to be safe in it. It messes you up in the end. I was all worried about why this wasn't rolling. I thought it was the transmission was busted or in gear. Also, make sure your e-brake is pulled before you put that center bearing on. That's very important. I had to take it off and redo that. But let's get this cab on there, boys.
All right, guys, I'd have to say this is good enough. I mean, I'm almost ready to start this thing up and send it down the road.
One thing to show you guys is this wheel is straight. Without weight on the truck, look at the other wheel. My wheels were fully aligned. This wheel is literally going this way. Every time I'd hit bumps, they literally tow in and out together. It's absolutely bizarre. So that is one huge plus to the new frame. Well, as you can tell, it's pitch black out. James is holding the cab. Say what's up, James. What's up? And, all right, we're going to try to get it on here. I'm going to remove the shifter. We've got to watch this. We're going to watch this, too. This is super important to watch out for. I'm going to tie it up to something. And then get it on the cab. All right, guys, check this out. Oh, it's going to be so cool. This has already got me excited. Wow, ain't this something to be super proud of? It's higher than it was before, and I love it right now because it's got the potential to be on the ground now. It didn't have that before. Wow, 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 wow. I have an insane amount of work to do. But now that it's on the cab, I mean, we can just go crazy with it and really start assembling this thing and getting it to where it needs to be. Okay, guys, she is now inside, as I just said. So, the question is, what's next? And honestly, I'm a little stumped there. I think I'll start on tucking things, kind of putting things back that I can. But the metal work is really what's going to trip me up the most. So, that is going to be difficult. I need to start cutting parts off that white cab outside next and getting them ready to put on this truck. Things like the rockers, cab corners, you name it, it needs to be changed. This inner fender is a big thing that definitely needs to be changed. But I could probably start running things like the harness for the engine and just small stuff. I'll take you guys along with me. That should just bolt up right there now, though. I just hope and hope and hope. And if so, I mean, fire. We are just so ahead of the game right now. Took, 4 days total? Just waiting on parts in the parts store was honestly the longest half of this. I'm going to change out the shocks still. So much to do. But I think, like I said, just being hung up on the metal work, the fabrication is going to be the slowest part of this. Once I'm done that, though, when the truck goes back together, it'll be fire. What I'll probably do right now is start prepping it to lower it. I have some friends coming over tomorrow, so that's something we can do. Get these wheels off, grind down the hubs, get the wire wheels on, put these wheels on the other chassis. So there's plenty to do. It's just kind of, just don't want to make myself more work by setting stuff up here and then needing to cut out the inner fender, you know? So one thing at a time. And I guess I will start with filling the transmission with fluid and getting that shifter in there. Okay, so I put in about 3 quarts of oil up here, maybe a hair more, and I actually did a little more reading. It's probably too much. So I guess a good fun way to fill your trans is overfill it, and then you can come down here to the fill plug, wherever that is. She's right up there, and just crack that free and let it drain out. Usually what you do is you fill that plug until it starts draining out. So both methods work, I guess. Just this one is not the right way. That's probably about a quart too full. Let's see. If we take this bottle, and this was full at 4 quarts, and I just drained it out, I probably put about 2.5 quarts roughly. So I probably put in about 2.5 quarts of fluid in there. Obviously, just fill it until it drains out of that side plug. I used a 3/4 wrench to get it off. Now I am going to put the shifter on. Okay, now I'm going to come over to the engine and fill her up with oil. Make sure that drain plug down below is tight. Watch for any leaks because we handmade our gasket out of a Honda bong. So I was not waiting until Monday or Tuesday to get an oil pan gasket. We had things to do. So that is full of oil now. The shifter is in, and actually we're gonna do this right now. I have a similar style, maybe the same style on the purple truck shift knob. It's gotta come off to put the boot on anyway. But we are totally gonna change this back out with the shifter from my. It fell under the cab. That was cool. I'm gonna change it out with the shifter from my first truck. I was sad I couldn't use the same handle. The shift's amazing. The 91 transmissions don't feel all that awesome. But yeah, I'm going to fill this with oil. I have to start check it, which I can't do because some oil will probably go into the filter, etc. And then I'll add some more, but I'll worry about that when I get there later, as long as there's oil in it. Now that that's done, we're going to do probably one of my favorite services, to be honest, is we take this ratchet right here, put it in loosen. We're going to get under the truck. You're going to want one of these squirt bottles. It's the best way to do it. And right on that square, you literally place the ratchet, and we're going to drain the diff fluid. And it is actually a pretty simple job. This is the fill plug. We're going to want to crack this first, sorry. Just to make sure you can fill it after. Look at this, no blocks yet, completely untouched. Man, this truck has no idea what's coming to it, and I love it. But yeah, we're going to place that under there. I just want to make sure the fill plug comes free. Then we're going to place it down here, crack that open, drain the fluid out, put the plug in, and then take that squirt bottle and fill it with fluid until it oozes out, close it up, and we'll have new fluid. So I'm actually really surprised. Somebody has done a fluid service on the diff. That's sick. And, don't want that to get buried. And there's a lot of crap on here, but I mean, clean fluid, even if it was ran just a little bit, so I'm pretty happy with that. We're going to replace it with our own fluid, I guess, now. I mean, we're already here, but good to know. All right, I am done under there now. Now, one of the things I was telling you guys about when I was gutting out the truck is this mirror is nice compared to mine that is not so nice. You can see there's just some trim up there that's all messed up. So, we're going to go a little above and beyond, take that cap off, take this cap off, give us a good clean, and get it up there. Well, I'd say all in all, that was a pretty successful day. Probably close up this back window now. Make it look a little better. Awesome. Yeah, so I think a plan is tomorrow is get those body mounts on, maybe lower this thing down with the homies, just have fun with them while they're here, and then get back to the more serious stuff after. But yeah, things are going really good. Untuck all this harness. So much to do. And we got that mirror in. See y'all in the morning. I did know, though, that the flywheel bolts are snapped in the back of the engine. So that was kind of the big killer. Somebody had rebuilt this, like I said. Just a couple things that I just wasn't too much of a big fan on. I see, like, missing head bolts and stuff. So I'm just going to probably take the valve cover off. Maybe take the alternator. It's good to have a spare alternator. I don't really think there's anything else good on this engine besides that. I have no use for it. I'm not going to replace a crank. I have another engine in the garage, so probably just put this, either send this over to a homie who wants it for parts, or it's going to end up going to the scrapyard. And I need this, I like having these around. But yeah, the engine's unfortunately pretty trash at this point. May snag those hoses too, just as extra backups in case you ever need them. And that's all the parts I'll need off this thing. But having this valve cover, I'll be able to probably send it over and get it powder coated just like I did for the purple truck and have a really nice powder coated valve cover. I don't know if I said, I'm going to take the top of the throttle body because we're going to want these little things and a little mass sensor. You never know. Little things like that are super important sometimes. Good morning, everybody. So we are back out today, just waiting for Shaq and John to come over. But while I'm waiting for them to come over, I will probably get the cab mounts set in place the best I can. It's going to be a little fuzzy trying to do that since we had to cut a hole back here. So I'm going to run my own nut and bolt back there now, and who knows what else. We'll get to it when we get there. But I think my plan is get the cab mounts in place, drill out the leaf spring back here, and once that's re-drilled, we can put the fuel tank back in. And I can do the lowering blocks later. I just want to get it down that basic 2.5 inches now while the fuel tank is out, because it'll just be so much simpler getting drill bits in there and working what I need to. I think real quick though, I have to go grab 2 bolts to slide in there. A very important thing to do because we're getting rid of the actual bolt. You can use it, but it's just better to get new bolts. And what it'll actually look like, I'll probably put in the title of the video, leaf spring hanger redrill, because I know this is a very big thing that people are always trying to figure out how to do. And basically, the end result will be this. And it'll cut down the excess that you had. And I've done it twice before. I always got to refresh my mind on what it is I really need to do. But you'll see the difference now. And look how high that is. We're going to drop this puppy quite a ways. Just drilled out our spot welds for this arm. Just going to cut it, we're just going to seam it in right about here. It's not going to be perfect. It is just a lowrider truck after all. So, drilled out the spot welds, hammered them out, and I'm just going to cut straight up and get that other inner fender going. Now we are finally going to start the leaf spring re-drill in the rear there. I don't really need to take off my wheels, but I think I'm going to anyway because I got to grind down the center hub to get the wheel adapter on for the lowrider wire wheels. So I'll actually probably lift up the back of the truck, put those on, and it'll drop this truck down quite a bit. The first thing you're going to want to do is remove this little 10mm bolt. Someone had already done that. And we're going to unbolt this back here. You're going to need to relocate the e-brake up higher just so it's out of the way because our bolt is going to go there. I do recommend if you have to change your fuel tank or do anything of the sort, that is the best time to do this. It'll be a little easier for me. I've done it twice without having to remove a fuel tank, but way easier to access everything. And basically the formula will be, we're going to take this bolt out. This is a bolt. There's a nut on the other side. We're going to replace it with a 3/4 bolt by 4 inches long, and we're going to measure 2 inches up and 1 inch off of here when we find 2 inches off of the center of this hole, and re-drill and send our new bolt in and cut off the excess. So the leaf spring will sit up here, cut off the extra. Makes sense. Love it. Well, last time on the stock wheels, I do got to give these wheels some credit, though. I like the little chrome ring. That's a nice touch. But we're going to pull the wheels off. Got this thing jacked up pretty high. And I'll start grinding down and getting those bolts out. Okay, so we've already gotten the bolt out. This is exactly what it looks like. And now, from here, I'm going to take my tape measure, go 2 inches up, and mark an inch off of the side wherever 2 inches lands. And start my pilot hole and drill it through. Alright guys, now we're taking the wire wheels off and going to put them on the black truck, which is pretty nasty. And always remember, when installing, right on the right side and white on the driver's side. And shout out to the homie Shaq for coming over to help out with the drilling on this project. Almost on that side. One thing you're going to want is one of these little extensions. I started the holes with self-tappers because these things just eat. And got this nice extension to go through this side and start drilling on the other side with a bit with my self-tapper because we are sketchy over here. Okay, guys. So now we've gotten our hole cut for our 3/4 bolt. Fits right in there. And I made a pilot hole already with the bit I showed you. Now I'm going to go on the other side and drill it out the same way with a step bit. Okay, so I went in there. I drilled out the hole. We're looking pretty good. I literally just need to pull this up Put a washer on each end. So one by the bolt head and one by the nut. And feed it through and tighten it. And then cut off the excess. Exactly how it should look. Now we're going to go cut the other side. I already got that one all hung up. Beautiful. It's literally that easy. What we're going to do now is take our grinder. I don't know if this floppy disk will work or not. We'll find out the hard way. And we're going to grind down this hub to make that wheel adapter fit on there. I forgot to show you guys, but I got these grinded down and the hubs are set in place. Now I'm just going to tighten them up, put some grease on the threads, and put the wheel back on. Okay, time to go down. She's got the wire wheels and the leaf spring hanger redrill. So I should be about the same height as I was before I did it all. Yeah, drop that thing, man. Drop that thing. I'll get a view from over here. Let's see it. Oh, yeah. Nice. Now the 4-inch blocks are a must. Just down just a little bit more. Like I said, only 2 inches, and obviously we dropped down the tire size, but I can like see over the bed now. Big plus so far. Time to swap out the front wheels. And check this out. Both the sets of wire wheels are on. The engine and everything's in place. So actually, I'm probably going to adjust the torsion bars down, get this a little bit lower. Just to eye level for now, because I will have the lowering blocks on, and I will have to readjust the torsion bars a little bit lower. So honestly, though, not too bad. I'm excited to see it on these wheels and not those big, ugly wheels. Now I can actually get to things. Those wheels are so in the way. Well, all right, everybody. I think I'm going to call that a video. I did actually get the cab mounts in place. I just need to tighten them all down, but I'm going to wait until I get everything all welded up before I do that. But yeah, we got the leaf spring hanger redrill done. Dropped this down quite a bit. I can actually just see over the truck now. It was pretty high up here before. I have to lower down loosen the torsion bars. I'm going to wait to do that, though, until next video when I get the tie rod ends in and everything else, so I can just slam it on the ground. Some things I'm going to look to purchase next are the 4-inch lowering blocks. I'll show you guys how to install those, and all sorts of other fun stuff. But we got the cab on the frame now, so I think we are in a great spot to call this a vid. And we'll get it lower down in the front next video, probably, and I will see you all then. Peace out.